Pro Valorant has seen a lot of bad teams, but it seemed like 2G esports were the worst we had ever seen at the top level. After getting completely destroyed in their first tournament, some unfortunate roster moves, and the biggest crash out in Pro Valorant history, before this match against Loud, nobody would have predicted them to win.
Here's a Nightfall, this is going to slow things up.
20 seconds!
Not a lot of time to work with. And there's Silence getting rid of Vinny. The lurker there through mid. There's another one coming. I don't know if he's going to be ready for it, but it may not matter. 2G
10 seconds left.
on the precipice of doing it. In disarray, losing their leader. Take their first win of Americas.
This is the story of how Pro Valorant's worst team finally won a match, and why even when things look utterly impossible, you should always keep believing. 2G's journey to VCT Americas started in the Brazilian Tier 2 League, where they'd have to be one of the two best teams across the entire year to qualify for Ascension. They placed third in both regional splits, but ended up qualifying as the second Brazilian seed based on points. The way America's Ascension works is that two teams from North America, Brazil, and Latin America compete for one chance at promotion into the Tier 1 League, VCT Americas. You either win the tournament and secure the biggest opportunity of your pro career, or you go home with nothing. The favourites for the tournament were M80, who had placed second in the previous year's tournament and dominated North American challengers. Not many eyes were on 2G, considering they were only the second best team from Brazil in attendance, but as the tournament played out, 2G emerged as one of the most interesting teams there. Their IGL Zap wasn't afraid to stand up and trash talk, and they had some real team spirit between their roster of veterans and youngsters.
Vem cá, dá abraço tio aqui. Não quero você pra baixo não, pô. Você é meu filhote, mas tem que estar alegre e sorrindo.
They barely scraped through to the playoffs with a 2-3 record, but it was enough to give them a chance, and after upsetting M80 in the upper bracket, it seemed like anything was possible. They won their next match and qualified into the grand final, a rematch against M80 for the single promotion spot into VCT, into the big leagues of Tier 1 Valorant, against the best players in the world. 2G were huge underdogs in this match, but there was some kind of magic in the air on that day in Monterrey.
The hit is on. Spike inside the site. Able to catch one through the smoke. Now the wingman now. Spike for a second. How about more? Yes, sir. Why not? It's down to just BCJ. It's a team that had never seen a grand finals. It's a team that came into this tournament doubted and discounted. They will not be denied. 2-game esport ascend to VCT Americas.
They battled through a grueling 5-map series to take down the Tier 2 Titans of M80 and secure first place in America's Ascension. That granted them a spot in VCT Americas for the 2025 season. It was an incredible underdog story, and many Brazilian fans hope to see them continue that momentum into the top level of the game. But there were just a few problems, and especially one big one. 2G's star player throughout their Ascension run was Spike, a young duelist player with incredible aim. But that was exactly the problem, he was too young. See, you can play in Valorant's Tier 2 leagues at 16 years old, but you can't play in the Tier 1 international leagues until you're 18. And unfortunately for Spike, who was 17 when 2G won Ascension, that wouldn't happen until June 2025, halfway through 2G's season in VCT Americas. That meant 2G would play the first half of the year without arguably their most important player, which was definitely a big loss for the team. The other major issue was that 2G were used to playing their matches from the comfort of their own homes in Brazil, but now they'd qualified into VCT Americas, where every match is played on LAN in Los Angeles. The whole team would have to pack their bags and move to the US. Moving countries is already a big deal, but add on top the notoriously slow visa process, and it probably was a really stressful time. But slowly they came to terms with the new environment, and secured Gobera as a solid substitute for Spike. They even won a few games against some Tier 1 teams in the off-season. Everything was coming together for 2G at the perfect time, because the first tournament of the year, VCT America's kickoff, was soon to begin, and with their first opponents being fellow Brazilian team Furia, it seemed like they actually had a chance to get a win early on in the season. But that's when everything started going wrong. You see, 2G weren't the only team to suffer from visa issues in the off-season, and as it turned out, they actually had it pretty alright compared to Furia, because Furia's visas were so delayed that the team would have to miss the first match of kickoff. That seems like it would have been a good thing for 2G, right? Furia have to forfeit the match, 2G get a bye in the first round of the tournament, all is good. Except that's not what Riot chose to do. Instead, they let Furia bring in an entire substitute team for the game, literally 5 completely random players, and so a mixture of Tier 2 North American players from YFP and Turtle Troop stepped in for Furia. Yep, you heard me right, they didn't make Furia forfeit the match, just 5 North American players played instead, for a Brazilian org, mind you. And although on the surface level that looked like a positive thing for 2G, because they were going to play against a team of tier 2 players, in reality, pro teams prepare meticulously to play against specific opponents, and this substitute roster would have completely thrown off all preparations 2G had made against the actual Furia. And not only that, it created a weird dynamic where despite 2G coming in as the new Ascension winner, which should have made them the underdogs in any game in Tier 1, they were now the favourites to win this game, which of course comes with a lot of pressure. So when it came time to play their first match in VCT Americas, they crumbled. They were sent down to the lower bracket by the substitute Furia roster, which obviously didn't make fans feel great about their chances going forward in the tournament. And with their next match being an elimination game against a scary Crew team, it looked to be over before it had even begun. They played extremely passively, looking completely scared to take fights, and Crew capitalized on the freedom they were given. Round after round after round went ticking by for Crew, with 2G only winning a mere 5 rounds across both maps. I mean, one of them was this insane 1v3 ace clutch from LZ.
3-1 for Kesnet. LZ forced to swing because of Kesnet's positioning, and that's a stunning shot! How the hell did LZ pull that off?
But even a play that crazy couldn't cover up just how badly 2G had been thrashed in this game. It was an embarrassing showing, and the community did not hold back on what they thought of the team after kickoff.
2G, get 2G at the
bottom. Oh, 2G. Lock them in at number 48, honestly.
Yeah.
No, wait, would 2G beat all gamers?
Mate, remember.
No, it was...
Remember 2G.
They
played so scared, they could not beat anyone playing that scared. They lost multiple maps by like... Most of their maps like 13-3,
no, that's
13-2.
No,
they weren't even winning rounds.
No, that's reasonable. That is super reasonable.
They were horrendous.
It was the sad truth. 2G were the worst Tier 1 Valorant team in the world, and not many people expected them to be able to even win a single match the entire season. Spike's return to the team was still months away, and the hope was slowly dwindling that they could even be a serious contender at all in VCT Americas.
I just need to have a little chat.
You just walked over here.
With 2G. I know I did, but just give me a minute. Give me a minute. I just need to chat with 2G, okay?
Go, have a conversation, I think.
It's okay. No, you don't have to worry about anything. Come on, take a seat. I just want to chat. 2G. Just talk to me about what is going wrong here, because 183 days since Ascension Finals, and this is what you're pulling up. Don't look at the exit. Look at me. Don't look at the exit. There's no getting out of this one here. I've got 30 minutes. No police interference with you, and we're going to fix you here and now. Look at this. Look at you on the stage winning. Remember what it was like to win? Do you remember? But I just need you to remember. Please, lock in. Remember your legacy. Please remember your legacy. Do you remember this guy at Spike? He's sitting on the sidelines. He's watching your team crumble. He can only play in stage 2. You need to lock in for Spike. Please lock in for Spike. Please. Do it for him. Please do it for him. I beg of you.
So with their backs against the wall and looking for a quick solution, 2G dropped Prize in exchange for Academy player Askia, who was clearly talented and might be able to bring some extra firepower to the team for Stage 1. Their first game of the regular season was against Evil Geniuses, and despite looking much improved and even nearly winning a map for the first time at the Tier 1 level, they still weren't able to close one out, and lost 2-0 in what felt like an inevitable loss at this point. But there were good signs. They'd pushed the score to 13-11, 4 rounds higher than their best map at kickoff, and the players were looking more comfortable on stage. Their opponents in the next week were Loud, which would definitely be a tough game, but it was possible that they might be able to secure their first map win in that series. And that's when it really went to shit. Zap suddenly removed all mentions of 2G from his social media, and at first, nobody knew why. Then it came out that after a tough day of scrims, Zap and the 2G coaches had a heated conversation about the team, which eventually led to Zap deciding that he was done. That was it. No more discussion, no more debate. After leading them to an Ascension win in the previous year, he was completely leaving the team. This literally came out of nowhere in the middle of the week too, which left 2G 1 without an IGL, and 2 needing to find a replacement player for their next game in 3 days' time. They somehow managed to find PXS, a Brazilian-American player, which meant they didn't have to deal with any visa issues, to slot into the team for 1 day of practice before the Loud match. But that came with another problem. He was replacing Zap, who was an Initiator player, but PXS was a Duelist player. He had never played Initiator before, not even in Ranked. It was way too late at this point to move everyone else's roles to suit him, so he would just have to do his best in his first match and try and learn on the job. On the night before the match, he was sat awake at 2 AM learning Initiator lineups, wondering whether or not he would even remember them for the match the next day. On top of that, Loud were the team that was known for never losing to fellow Brazilian teams, and who had very nearly beaten a strong Sentinels team in kickoff a few weeks prior. Considering all of these extremely unfortunate circumstances, 2G winning this match seemed like an impossibility. The chance of them actually winning against Loud was so slim, so minuscule, that it almost felt like 2G should just give up. But when you have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. The match started pretty normally for 2G, as they lost the first 4 rounds in a row.
PXS just stunned Aski. Not great.
But slowly and surely, with a solid execution of the Breach Teo Yoru comp and a great performance from new IGL LZ, they clawed back the scoreline, reaching 12-11 for the second time this year.
This 1v1 is massive. The shorty takes him down. Vinny's out of the picture now. Digizine has to hold from the low ground. Sees the Vice push up and Picardo's able to find one. Now surely, caution thrown to the wind. Has to push up into this now. LZ gives it a tap, takes him down. It's a 1-for-1. Digizine 6 health, not enough. And we're going to overtime.
This was their best chance to win a map since they first joined VCT Americas, but they had to prove they could close it out.
He is the key player right now. He's going to hear, of course, this door open. LZ can also follow the line for him. 1-for-1. Cabrera still as yet hidden, undetected. Vinny, though, is going to be looking for a C's. Comes in, but where's the eyes? Cowan's in, at least able to find the one now. Player advantage for Loud to leverage. Silence and PXS here, sat on bend, trying to hold on, trying to huddle together. It's the newcomer PXS in a 1v1. Over the top goes 2G's, but he makes too much sound. The new blood will get 2G to map points. Fault line into B, sheer wall will be activated. Oh, Vinny's on the outside looking in. Will this be punished though? No, there's a player in baby door. DG's been able to get there. Through the smoke though, desperately Silence able to find one of there. Goes DG. You're running out of time. Loud, don't have any other options. With 3 players left to stay in the map, they've got to go for the pub, but Vinny will be interrupted. And that's all she wrote, folks. 2G limping into the game. We'll take it in overtime. What are we doing here?
They had done it. Despite Digizine dropping 32 kills on the Neon for Loud, 2G's new roster had dragged the map across the line to win their first ever map in Tier 1. And not only that, but Lotus was actually Loud's map pick. 2G's own map pick of Pearl was up next, and they really did have the chance now to not only just win a map, but win the entire series. And they looked determined to do just that. Aski's Yoru continued to impress as 2G took an early lead.
Back for Loud. This is scary here. And there's Askia emerging, takes Digizine down instantly. Kawanzine spotted out, of course. That's the Nightfall doing work. A second here for the 2G duelist. He's got to respect that special delivery. As the Steel Garner comes in, and Askia, he's unstoppable.
And soon they went up 11-5, only 2 rounds away from that impossible win. Everyone watched in disbelief as this team, who should have barely won a single round, were coming closer and closer to taking down the Kings of Brazil. But this time it was Loud's turn to make a comeback as they pushed the score closer and closer to another overtime.
It's up to Pancada here versus 4. 2G now trying to give themselves a staging ground to end the series. But Pancada stands up, finds 2. It's unreal!
Eventually it reached 12-11 to 2G, but 2G had lost 6 of the last 7 rounds to let Loud back into the game. It felt like they had to close it out here, otherwise it would just be another game that slipped away. Would they really throw away the shot at a match victory in the final moments?
Time to work with. And there's Silence getting rid of Vinny. The lurker there through mid. There's another one coming. I don't know if he's going to be ready for it, but it may not matter. 2G
10 seconds left.
on the precipice of doing it. In disarray, losing their leader, take their first win of Americas. In a debut for PXS. Silencing the doubters and maybe the doubt in their own minds as well.
2G, the worst team in Pro Valorant, had won the impossible match. Without their star player, with no proper IGL, and with a new player who had never even played the role he was put on, 2G had somehow completed one of, if not the craziest upset in Pro Valorant history. In a 2-0 fashion as well. This incredible result for 2G shows just how even when a situation looks completely done, there is always a chance, and sometimes in the right moment, that chance is all you need. And I think 2G's story in the VCT so far tells us more than just about their team specifically. There's always a lot of negative talk about the state of Tier 2 Valorant, but stories like this show us that the gap between Tier 2 and Tier 1 really isn't as big as some people might think. Just look over at Pacific, where Boom and Nongshim are both playing really well at the moment, and beating staple teams of the region week in and week out. Apex and Gentlemates are both making waves in EMEA, XLG is looking solid in China, and of course, G2 are one of the best teams in the world. With the Tier 1 teams getting all of the spotlight, it's easy to forget about Tier 2 players and teams, but we must remember, Tier 2 is the backbone of Valorant esports. Both us as fans and Riot as a company have got to keep supporting Tier 2 and giving opportunities for these players to shine, because eventually, some of them might just win their very own impossible match. And with that, I've been Commend, subscribe if you enjoyed, and thank you for watching.